Hello and welcome back to Camus Classics. As you saw earlier, we kind of got the trunk pretty much finished. Still have to do a little bit of seam sealer and a few other things like that, but nothing too major. So we're going to move on to the next project, which is the main floor in the Oldsmobile 442. As you can see, we have a full floorboard. We're not putting it in pieces. We're going to put it all in one. The only way to do it is from the bottom. So you want to come, as you've seen before, it's fairly rusty. Get right through and walk on the floor in fuse plots. So what we're going to be using is a plasma cutter to cut this out, just a rough cut, because we're going to be removing so much structure of the car. And the only way to put that floorboard in is from the bottom. We're going to just kind of do a base cut, get kind of a big portion of it out, leave the rest in, and that way when we go to, once we get it out, then we can put our bracing in. We'll brace across here, brace across the doorways, brace front to back, brace the trunk, and that way we can move back here to our two-post lift. And we'll lift it off the body, and then we'll finish getting the rest of the floor out of it, and from there we'll put the new floorboard in. And while we have it on that the frame off, we'll go ahead and blast the frame and get it painted as well. Big key part on a plasma cutter is your ground. You have to find a good spot to ground it. If you don't, you won't get an arc. This particular plasma cutter was about $400 or $500. With me, it's when you go to tools, it's get the best you can afford. That's what I could afford at the time. I didn't know how much we'd use it. Of course, your high-end brands, Miller, Hypertherm, they're quite a bit more money, but this does what I need it to do. So we'll get started. Again, full pants, long sleeve shirt. These glasses are specially designed for plasma cutters. They're about, I think, a 7 on the brightness or on the darkness. In a pinch, you can use a welding helmet. It'll still, even the auto darkenings, it'll spark enough to light those off. But the welding helmets are almost too dark for this, and so it doesn't put out the light that a welder does, so you don't get to see what you're doing very well. It's 220, and then you just hook up air to it, and once it's on, you'll kick the fans on, and we'll go to cutting. Okay, so there are 2 braces in here. What we can do is, once we get it cut a little bit, we can take a big pry bar and pry those up a little, and we'll be able to get that portion out of our way. I'm going to go ahead and make another cut down this side, and we'll take it out in chunks. So we got that panel pretty well free. That's the only real problem with the plasma cutters. If you're cutting through multiple layers, you kind of have to do a layer, peel it off, do a layer, peel it off. So we'll continue on with this. We'll get you a little more footage of what we're doing, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so basically what I did was use this big bar as well as a littler bar. And as you can see, we've just pried that up. So all we're going to do now, like I said, with plasma cutter, you kind of have to do layers. With a cutting torch, you can sometimes get through the layers like that. But cutting torch is going to take probably 5 times as long. And it's going to cost a whole lot more money because all this costs is a little bit of electricity. And right now, the oxygen and acetylene gases are expensive. Just know what I'm going to do is going to move to the other side, and we'll just cut out over and up. Actually, before we do that, we're going to our new floor pan does not have the cutout for the transmission shifter. So I'm going to cut that piece out so we can save it, so we can use it as a pattern. Okay, so now just like the other side, I'll grab my bars and we'll break that out. So just use the little bar to get it up to where I can get my big bar under it. Basically all I gotta do is bend these out of the way so that I can get my cutter in there. So it should be pretty well free. I'm just going to go ahead and pull my cut torch out just so I don't damage it. Catch it on something sharp, can damage it. Okay, so we had a little camera difficulties. It froze in the middle of getting the floor out. If you want to go ahead, basically from where our video stops, we was able to just break that piece out. Then we went ahead and cut this back piece out if you want to see what we got. So now we got an open floor. Of course, we left quite a bit of material around it. So we can now go ahead and get it braced, and then we'll be able to pull the body bolts and lift the body off the frame, and then we can put the floorboard in, finish the frame, and then we're thinking of doing the bottom of the car with just a roll-on bed liner. So we'll probably do that too while we have it in the air. If you want to see, here's the two pieces we cut out. With the plasma cutter, of course, it's hot, melts the metal, so it's going to be hot. So we didn't want, we got our scrap pile over there, but there's a bunch of weeds and stuff here too. We didn't want to risk lighting our shop on fire if we happen to catch the weeds on fire. So we're just going to let it sit here overnight on the cement, and then we can throw it in the scrap pile tomorrow after it cools off really well. Yeah, so that's cutting the floorboard out of a 66 Oldsmobile 442. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.